Shaheen went away from Lingering Souls for a while. It just didn't do anything against True Name Nemesis. With True Name on the decline, it makes a lot more sense to be playing with Lingering Souls. But if that one of shows up for Eric, it could be a bit of an issue for Shaheen.
All right, well, we are underway. Eric Rill on the play as he lost game 1. He'll start out by trading lands, and on turn 2, it's going to be Rill making the first move. Now, going back to Eric's strategy of Blood Moon, he's playing them in the main. How good is that against Shaheen?
Well, Shaheen has the classic Esper package of 2 islands, a plains, and a swamp. Those basics are in there to allow him to cast any spell in the deck. So, he can flashback Lingering Souls, he can cast Jace the Mind Sculptor. If Shaheen is conscious of Blood Moon, he can get those lands, and it's generally not too prohibitive. But sometimes you need to fetch for duels, or sometimes you just happen to randomly draw dual lands, and then Blood Moon can be really powerful.
All right, so the turn 2 play from Eric was Young Pyromancer. Shaheen on Eric's end step is going to attempt to Swords to Plowshares it, and now we're seeing whether or not Eric wants to Force of Will it. It looks like his remaining hand, he has True Name Nemesis, Force of Will, and Dig Through Time. And another land and Snapcaster Mage.
It's a pretty big success here for Shaheen if he's able to get a Force of Will and a blue card out of his turn 1 play. Because in this matchup, Shaheen just wants to run Eric out of resources, and Shaheen can then win the game with the leftovers, whether it's just the Mind Sculptor, Lingering Souls tokens, whatever.
All right, well, it's going to be Force of Will from Eric. He's committed to it. We'll see what he wants to pitch. It's going to be Snapcaster Mage. So Swords to Plowshares will not work. Eric will get a 1/1. Now, I believe Shaheen, sitting on a second Swords to Plowshares, may not care too much that first one didn't work.
If he's got a second Swords to Plowshares, he is thrilled with this opening.
You see actually Engineered Explosives, Stoneforge Mystic, second Swords to Plowshares, Jace, Dig Through Time. All among cards in Shaheen's hand. So he'll Swords the Young Pyromancer again. And just past the turn, plays a fetch land. I am not sure Shaheen has more lands. He does have a Brainstorm, so things should be fine here.
Stoneforge Mystic can play in his hand as well, so he can also just cast that next turn, even if he misses his land drop.
And Eric going to continue the pressure. He's running out of cards, so he's going to have to get aggressive. Third land looks to make the way for True Name Nemesis.
And we talked about this before. Not a card Shaheen likes to play against. Very good against Jace the Mind Sculptor. Makes the equipment package a lot less powerful. Lingering Souls offers no defense.
All right, so this is one of those cards you always have to ask then, especially in a mid-range matchup like this. All right, what are the ways Shaheen can kill this?
He's got a Supreme Verdict in his main deck, which I assume is still in his deck. And nothing else. I mean, he can overpower it. Oh, Engineered Explosives, excuse me.
I believe that's actually in his hand, but you don't know, he doesn't have the, well, yeah, he doesn't have the third land.
Yeah, it looks like he's picked it up off the Brainstorm, so he should be good.
Is it a problematic enough card that he starts to go to a card like Perish out of the sideboard? I suppose that card's also good against Young Pyromancer. Or no, not, right, no, I'm thinking Toxic Deluge. No, Perish is the other 3-mana black sorcery.
True Name Nemesis also has protection from Perish.
Yeah, it is just those. He is very light on answers to this guy.
Now, he fortunately has one of them in his hand, so he's fine. But
Thoughtseize here for Shaheen. We see Brainstorm and Dig Through Time. Takes the Dig Through Time, leaves Eric with just a Brainstorm. Yeah, we do see that Engineered Explosives hiding out.
But this is a really good start here for Shaheen now that he has the Engineered Explosives because, he's just taking the Dig Through Time out of Eric's hand. He's exhausting Eric's resources and definitely has the leftovers in his hand with a Stoneforge Mystic and a Jace to be able to clean up. Also a main deck Council's Judgment in Shaheen's list, so a couple answers, but still not the card he wants to be playing against.
Absolutely. So Thoughtseize now is going to fetch. He'll go search up the land. Looks like it'll be Dig Through Time. Had the option between that and Stoneforge. Wants to resolve Dig while he knows he can. And if he didn't have an answer for his true name in his hand already, this would certainly help him find one.
There is a bit of a risk because Eric has a Brainstorm as his leftovers in hand. That gives him a look at a counterspell, and you can imagine Shaheen failing to resolve the Engineered Explosives because it gets countered and dying with a reasonable amount of action left over in his hand. So this is a calculated risk. It's a very good time to stick the Dig Through Time, and Eric needs to draw very well from here.
Yeah, I believe Shaheen took a 4th land and a Supreme Verdict just in case.
Yeah, the Supreme Verdict now is a great insurance policy.
Brainstorm from Eric. True for the turn. He does have Shaheen down to 15. He wants to continue being on the aggressive side of things. Has Shaheen at 11. No other land he'll pass back. And Shaheen drawing Council's Judgment.
So he has all of his answers.
But he'll do the Supreme Verdict. That'll take care of True Name Nemesis and the token. It clears off the board, and it's 11 life. Shaheen looks to have stabilized. Eric will try to reload. He'll start with Brainstorm.
Explosives and Council's Judgment left over in Shaheen's hand in case Eric is able to find a problematic permanent. It's a very good setup.
He also has that Jace the Mind Sculptor in his hand as the finisher for when he decides to play it. Another land from Eric.
So the coast is reasonably clear for Jace. Spell Pierce is an answer, and if Shaheen brainstorms, then Lightning Bolt's an answer. But Shaheen playing around the possibility of Bolt by just Fate Sealing himself here.
Yeah. So yeah, he'll get the Jace into play before passing priority. He'll scry 1 with it. Puts it up to 5 outside of the range of Lightning Bolt. He'll put it to the bottom and then pass. And you see Lightning Bolt actually hiding out in Eric's hand, so pretty reasonable play from Shaheen.
Yep.
Eric will go for a Jace of his own. His is going to start by brainstorming, though. Eric needs cards immediately. Finds him one of his copies of Blood Moon. Typically could be a strong card against Shaheen's mana base, but he still needs an answer to Shaheen's board.
And Shaheen's going to be able to fire back with a very potent turn here, being able to use Council's Judgment.
Now, Shaheen doesn't have the counterspell. This Blood Moon will bring Shaheen down to all mountains and 1 island. But with the J still in play, he may not care.
Shaheen's also picked up Counterspell, which gives him a lot of play here. Try to just play the Stoneforge Mystic with Counterspell backup.
Yeah, the counterspell draw here from Shaheen may be too much for Eric to overcome. Shaheen's cards like Council's Judgment are so good at trading 1 for 1 on resources that he can just trade and Jace.
Yep. And now both these decks have Jace, but Shaheen's deck plays the Jace game so much better than Eric's does.
Chitaxian Probe from Eric, and now he'll see just what he's up against. Counterspell, Stoneforge, Mystic, Engineer Explosives, and an on-board Jace. That's a lot for Eric to make his way through.
And Shaheen's deck's just got a lot more power in this stage. More hard counters, more card drawing. And Eric's deck is flush with things like low-impact creatures, Lightning Bolts, a Blood Moon of dubious value. And Shaheen just draws nothing but hits from this spot. And Eric's cards, not so much.
Shaheen going to brainstorm here and then crack a fetch land. Using Jace just to set up full brainstorms. Rather looks he's cracking it on end step, finds another copy of Stoneforge Mystic, so we'll start with Brainstorm. Gets himself a copy of Thoughtseize.
Thoughtseize is not a shabby pickup here as he can strip the Bolt, and that clears the path for Stoneforge Mystic.
And here we go, Thoughtseize. Shaheen also picking up a copy of Dig Through Time that turn. Lightning Bolt and Blood Moon. Eric, he's just throwing the Blood Moon dejectedly into the graveyard.
Yeah, I'm not even, I suppose Shaheen's in a position now where he can just cast the Batterskull.
Yeah, I would say, Shaheen stops, he has Eric rewind and says, no, I'm taking the Lightning Bolt.
Yep. I thought it was possible Shaheen would just say, I don't really care if the Stoneforge gets bolted here because I can simply cast the Batterskull, but.
Yeah, well, he has a second, he did it, I don't know what he did off the Brainstorm, but he did have a second Stoneforge before he put 2 cards back. At this point, yeah, Stoneforge getting Batterskull. I mean, Shaheen has found a basic plains and a basic island. This Blood Moon's not even that much damage.
Yeah, Shaheen can play through this pretty easily. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't want Blood Moon in play, but
yeah, so
maybe even if it sneaks in, it's not a big deal.
So he'll use that one of Counterspell and Blood Moon, which certainly makes sense. If he lets it resolve, the Counterspell isn't a card anymore. As he only has 1 basic island in play.
Well, this is a fairly curious play from Shaheen's side because he likely would not have counterspelled the lightning bolt. So I don't understand thought seizing.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
leaving him with something that you feel is warranted using a counterspell on.
It does mean that Eric, he top decked a Pyroblast, was able to blast away the Jace.
Yeah, I think Shaheen's got such a huge resource advantage. He's just picked up another Jace that none of this matters, but I don't quite understand the decision tree.
If there's 2 cards and you should leave him with the card you don't have to cast Counterspell on.
Right. Now, if Shaheen would have counterspelled the lightning bolt, then I guess that's fine because you make Eric use 3 mana on a Blood Moon instead of 1 mana on a lightning bolt.
Right.
But with the resource advantage that Shaheen has right now, it feels like you just let that go and save the counterspell in case Eric sneaks through some high impact card.
As this, Shaheen will go ahead and just brainstorm and then pass the turn. He has Stoneforge in play. It's going to end step sneak that Batterskull into play. Shaheen not going to take down 3 mana here at any point. Wants to just save that Batterskull. And now the beats will start to the pace of 4 a turn. 5 turns, that should take care of Eric. Shaheen draws that Jace again. Stoneforge will go ahead and lower the clock by joining in. 5 damage across, Rill down to 14, Shaheen up to 12.
And Shaheen with Snapcaster in hand. Counterspell the graveyard, Jace in his hand is just so many good options here.
Yeah, go ahead and play the Jace.
I'm looking to Fate Seal here. Just lock out the draw steps.
Certainly is an option. If you know Mr. Soorani and how he likes to play Jace the Mind Sculptor, well, he's going to go ahead and brainstorm with it.
This is fine too. There are no bad paths from this position.
So one of the great parts about Jace is that even if it's hard to pick a wrong ability with him.
It's all good. I mean, I wouldn't unsummon the Germ Token, for example, but it's all
Right,
this,
okay.
all this
Yeah.
works out kind of the same way. It's all good.
And Eric just drawing cards. Trying to find a threat as his life total is worked on. 14 goes down to 9. 2 more attacks should do it. Shaheen will just continue brainstorming.
Notion Thief to pick up too. So we got some full blowout potential coming.
Have some real flashy plays. Maybe Eric draws a brainstorm and goes for that. Shaheen's certainly not someone to shy away from doing something flashy.
And you just go beat downs.
All right, 3-1 on end step. Let's come in. It's Notion Thief. And that's 8 power on the table. Eric has a red blast. So a split of reds and pyros.
And this puts lethal on the table, and there you go.
Here you go. Jace goes into the graveyard, and Snapcaster was the last 2 points of damage. So Shaheen Soorani, he'll win with Esper Stoneblade, move to 10 and 3. The Esper in both formats player, once again looking for another invitational top 8 for his resume.